Have you ever found yourself just staring at a screen, totally overwhelmed by, the sheer volume of information, feeling like your brain just can't quite keep
Well,
up?
absolutely. Happens all the time.
Or maybe you've struggled to remember details from something you just read. Or, simply wished you could learn faster, absorb more, unlock some kind of hidden potential you suspect is just lying dormant inside you.
That feeling of untapped potential.
Well, what if I told you that you absolutely can tap into an incredible untapped power that's already right there inside you just waiting to be unleashed?
It sounds almost too good to be true, but it's grounded in real science and practice.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're not just dipping our toes in, we're really plunging headfirst into the fascinating and, frankly, pretty transformative world of cognitive enhancement.
Yeah, getting right into it.
Our expert guide for this journey is Jim Kwik's incredible book, Limitless. Upgrade your brain, learn anything faster, and unlock your exceptional life. And let me be perfectly clear right up front, this isn't about magic pills or some fleeting quick fix.
No, definitely not.
It's about a proven, systematic process to unleash your absolute best brain and truly become, limitless.
That's right. And our mission today is really to extract the most crucial nuggets of wisdom from this incredibly powerful resource. We're going to unpack Kwik's core framework, what he calls the M3 approach.
M3, Mindset Motivation Methods.
Exactly. Mindset, motivation, and methods. And this isn't just theory. It's a practical, actionable blueprint designed to empower each of you, listening right now, to transcend those perceived limitations.
So practical tools, not just ideas.
Absolutely. By the end of this deep dive, you'll walk away not just with information, but with actual tools and hopefully a completely new perspective on your own brain's incredible, dare I say, limitless capacity.
Okay.
You'll truly understand how we can all become, limitless learners, thinkers, and doers, ready to tackle any challenge with renewed mental agility.
Okay, let's unpack this then. And maybe the best way in is with a powerful story, one that really embodies this idea of moving from limits to liberation. And it starts right from the source, Jim Kwik's own journey.
His origin story, so to speak.
Exactly. Imagine being labeled the boy with the broken brain after a childhood head injury. I mean, that was Jim. It was a label that would just crush most people, wouldn't it?
Absolutely devastating. His early life was indeed marked by significant learning challenges, a really profound struggle. He talks about feeling consistently slow, dumb, struggling immensely just to read.
Wow.
And being absolutely crushed by a teacher's dismissive label. That deeply impacted his self-perception, his self-worth,
Yeah, those labels stick.
They do. And it was during this difficult period that he often escaped into comic books. He found solace there, relating deeply to misunderstood heroes like the X-Men.
The X-Men. Interesting connection.
Yeah, he found hope in their stories, this idea that one person could overcome impossible odds. So this early experience, it really became a crucible, forging a crucial part of his later narrative.
What I find particularly compelling about Jim's journey, though, is how his personal tragedy wasn't just a hurdle, but it really became the catalyst for his life's mission.
Right, the turning point.
Yeah, here's where it gets truly inspiring. His grandmother's battle with dementia. It wasn't just a personal tragedy for him. It transformed his own struggle with learning into this lifelong burning mission for brain health and fitness.
Giving a powerful why.
Exactly. This propelled him to embark on his own profound hero's journey, eventually becoming, as he puts it, a personal trainer for the mind, dedicated to teaching meta-learning, which is essentially learning how to learn.
And this concept, the hero's journey, it's a classic plot structure, right? We see it in Star Wars, The Matrix, Harry Potter.
All the big ones.
It's not just for fiction or ancient myths. Kwik frames it as our personal narrative where you, the listener, are the superhero.
So we're all on this journey.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
You start in an ordinary world, you heed a call to adventure, which for many of you listening might be reading a book like Limitless, or even just engaging with this deep dive right now.
Okay.
You then meet a mentor, whether it's Kwik's book, or maybe us here today, hopefully. You gain new powers or skills, you face trials, obstacles.
The challenges.
Right, the challenges, and ultimately you return with an ultimate boon, the wisdom, the strength, the clarity you discovered within yourself. This entire process, going from limits to liberation, fundamentally starts from within.
From the inside out.
Precisely. Kwik shares a powerful quote that just perfectly encapsulates this. If an egg is broken by an outside force, life ends. If broken by an inside force, life begins. Great things always begin from the inside. It's about that internal shift, that conscious decision to break out of your own shell.
That's incredibly powerful. And it makes me wonder, how does this resonate with your own perceived limitations or aspirations out there? Think about a challenge you've faced or a goal you've maybe put off because of that belief, that little voice saying you just can't.
We all have those voices.
Jim's story suggests that often the biggest obstacles are actually the ones we create for ourselves, aren't they?
They really are. Internal limitations.
Now, every superhero on their journey needs an arch nemesis, right? Some kind of villain to overcome.
True. The obstacles make the hero.
Well, in our modern, digitally driven world, Jim Kwik identifies 4 specific digital villains that are actively challenging our capacity to think, to focus, to learn, and really just to be fully human.
Yeah, and these aren't comic book bad guys with capes and evil laughs.
No, much subtler.
Much subtler, but maybe even more dangerous, because they're so pervasive. These are real, everyday forces that subtly erode our mental clarity and performance, often without us even noticing.
Okay, so what are these 4 villains? Let's name them.
All right. First up, there's the digital deluge. This is just the unending flood of information we're exposed to: daily emails, news feeds, social media notifications, articles, everything. It leads straight to overwhelm, anxiety, even sleeplessness.
Drowning in data.
Literally.
Yeah.
We're desperate for strategies to just regain some productivity and peace of mind from this constant inundation. It's relentless.
Okay, that's one. What's next?
Then we have digital distraction. Our constant connectivity, the sheer volume of pings and alerts, it trains us to be perpetually distracted. Our attention spans are shrinking.
Conditioned for distraction.
Exactly. Neuroscientist Daniel J. Levitin explains it really well. Asking our brain to constantly shift attention from one thing to another causes our prefrontal cortex and striatum to just burn through oxygenated glucose.
Our brain fuel.
Right. This rapid continual shifting, this multitasking, it quickly depletes our brain's fuel. It leads to exhaustion and compromised cognitive and physical performance. It's a massive, usually unnoticed mental energy drain that makes sustained focus feel almost impossible.
Wow. Okay, deluge, distraction. Number 3.
Next is digital dementia. We're increasingly outsourcing our memory to our devices, right? Phone numbers, directions, birthdays.
Guilty as charged. My phone knows more birthdays than I do.
We all do it. But this allows that crucial memory muscle to atrophy. Neuroscientist Manfred Spitzer points out that short-term memory pathways can actually deteriorate from underuse. It's like relying on GPS all the time and stopping actively mapping new routes in our minds.
Use it or lose it, essentially.
Pretty much. And while some argue this frees up brain space, the real question is whether we're making that choice consciously or just falling into an unconscious habit that might be harming us in the long run. We're losing the practice of remembering.
Okay, and the 4th villain.
Finally, there's digital deduction. We're letting technology do our critical thinking and reasoning for us. Think about it. With the ubiquity of opinion online, it's so easy to just align with existing sources and analyses rather than developing our own.
Taking mental shortcuts.
Exactly. And this can atrophy our own muscles for critical thinking, problem solving, and creativity. We wouldn't let another person do all our thinking for us, right? But we've somehow grown comfortable letting our devices wield that power without fully realizing the impact on our own mental prowess.
It sounds like these digital villains are truly conspiring to keep us from our full potential, almost like the trials a hero must face, So out of those 4 deluge, distraction, dementia, and deduction, which one do you think is the sneakiest? The one that most people don't even realize is eroding their capacity day by day.
Ooh, that's a fantastic question. They're all insidious, but I'd probably argue digital distraction is the sneakiest.
Why that one specifically?
Because it's so normalized. We often mistake constant connectivity and responsiveness for productivity, when in reality, we're just context switching at this exhausting, brain-draining rate. Kwik, drawing on Levitin's research, points out how just shifting attention constantly burns through our mental fuel. The sneakiest part is how quickly we become accustomed to it, thinking, oh, this is just how things are now.
We adapt to the chaos.
We do. And the immediate countermeasure Kwik suggests, and it sounds incredibly simple, but it's remarkably effective, is to turn off notifications.
Turn them off.
Not just silence them, but actually disable the visual alerts too, the badges, the pop-ups. It breaks that constant conditioning of our brains to react to every single ping and allows you to reclaim control over your focus rather than letting your devices dictate it.
That's such a practical, immediate step anyone can take right now. So for you, recognizing these digital villains for what they are is really the very first step to defeating them.
Absolutely.
It's about becoming the superhero of your own brain health, claiming your full potential, not just passively accepting these modern challenges as unavoidable.
Exactly. And to counteract these forces and truly become limitless, Kwik offers that powerful three-part framework we mentioned: mindset, motivation, and methods. The M3 approach.
Right, M3.
He emphasizes that all three are absolutely essential for any true breakthrough. Mindset is all about possibility. It encompasses your deeply held beliefs about yourself, about learning, about what you think is achievable. Kwik defines a limited idea entertained, or a lie, as a belief that actively holds you back, often unconsciously.
Those sneaky limiting beliefs.
Then there's motivation, which is about purpose. This is the drive, the why behind your actions, the energy that propels you to take action and, crucially, stick with it.
The fuel in the tank.
Precisely. And finally, methods are about process. These are the proven strategies and techniques for learning, improving, remembering, focusing, performing at your very best.
You know, I often think of it like a three-legged stool. You can have the best methods in the world, right, say, for learning a new language.
The best techniques.
But if your mindset tells you deep down, oh, I'm just terrible at languages, or you lack the motivation, that clear purpose to put in the consistent effort, well, that stool is going to wobble, isn't it? You won't get very far.
That's a perfect analogy. It falls over.
It seems all three parts, mindset, motivation, and methods, they really have to work together, like a powerful synergy to unlock your full, limitless potential. It's like an ecosystem, not just a series of isolated steps you can pick and choose from.
Couldn't agree more. They're interdependent.
Okay, so a core part of cultivating that limitless mindset, then, must be identifying and challenging what Jim Kwik calls the 7 lies of learning.
Yes, the LIEs.
Those deeply ingrained, often subconscious beliefs that hold us back, those limited ideas entertained, or belief systems, BS, as he puts it, quite pointedly.
He doesn't mince words there.
Let's tackle them one by one, because just exposing them, bringing them into the light, that's the first step to dismantling them, right?
Absolutely. Awareness is the first step to change. Exposing these lies is crucial for any real progress. The first one is a big one. Lie no one won. Intelligence is fixed.
Ah, the fixed IQ myth.
Exactly. Many of us grew up believing we're born with a set level of intelligence, a fixed IQ score that defines our potential forever. But Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck's groundbreaking work clearly distinguishes between a fixed mindset, where abilities are seen as static, unchangeable,
like stone,
and a growth mindset, which views them as malleable, improvable through effort, strategy, and learning.
And this is where it gets incredibly empowering, isn't it? Research, like that from Brian Roche you mentioned, shows that while IQ test scores might be relatively stable over time,
Those scores themselves, yes.
our actual intelligence levels or capabilities are constantly increasing, constantly changing. Our brains have this incredible capacity for neuroplasticity,
The brain's superpower.
meaning they can literally change and be shaped by our actions, our learning, our environments. Every time you learn something new, your brain makes new synaptic connections. It literally rewires itself.
So you talk a lot about neuroplasticity in your work. How does Kwik specifically advise we leverage this amazing capacity rather than just being aware that it exists? What's the active step there? That's the key question, isn't it, though? Awareness without action doesn't get you very far. Kwik emphasizes that leveraging neuroplasticity means actively engaging in novel learning. You have to challenge yourself with new skills, new information, even just changing up your daily routine.
Getting out of ruts.
Exactly. It's about making conscious choices to put your brain into new, stimulating environments and situations. It demands effort. So the truth is, it's not just about how smart you are, but how you are smart. Recognizing your unique ways of learning and processing.
Finding your own genius.
Precisely. And this directly challenges that burden of expectation. The idea that if you're not a natural at something, you can't succeed. David Schenck, in his book The Genius in All of Us, argues that believing in inborn gifts and limits is actually gentler on the psyche because it relieves us of the responsibility for our own growth.
It's an easy way out.
It is. But the new belief, the limitless belief, as Kwik puts it, is that intelligence is fluid. You can actively mold and shape your brain to suit your desires like a mental sculptor. You have agency.
Okay, so intelligence isn't fixed. That's a huge weight off many shoulders, I imagine. After dismantling that myth, we often find ourselves clinging to another comforting yet equally limiting idea about our brains. Kind of a sci-fi fantasy, really. What's the second LIE Kwik tackles head on?
Yes, that would be Lino 2. We only use 10% of our brains. This is such a pervasive myth, isn't it?
Dicks everywhere. Movies love it. Limitless, Lucy.
Exactly. It gets glorified in pop culture, suggesting this vast, untapped potential just waiting to be unlocked with a magic pill or some fluke accident. It's incredibly appealing, the idea of suddenly accessing an extra 90% of your mental power. Who wouldn't want that?
Totally. It taps right into that desire for a hidden superpower. But as thrilling as the idea is, the reality, according to neuroscience, is, well, quite different.
Overwhelmingly different, yes. Neuroscientist David Eagleman states it unequivocally. We use 100% of our brain. All of it.
All of it, not just 10%.
All of it. Brain scans show all areas are active, even during sleep. Think about this. Our brain consumes a remarkable 20% of our body's total energy, despite being only about 2% of its weight.
That's incredibly energy intensive.
Hugely. It wouldn't need that much fuel if you were mostly dormant, just sitting there waiting. Furthermore, the brain actively employs something called synaptic pruning.
Pruning, like gardening.
Kind of. It means unused connections or areas would degenerate over time. The brain optimizes itself. There are no truly functionless areas just waiting to be switched on. All parts work together in this complex integrated system.
So what does this all mean for us then, if we're already using 100%?
It means the utopia of accessing your full brain power is already possible. The key isn't using more of our brain because we're already using it all. The key is using our whole brain more efficiently and effectively.
Efficiency and effectiveness, not just raw percentage.
Exactly. Think of it like your body. You use 100% of your body, right? But some bodies are faster or stronger or more flexible due to training and optimization. It's the same with the brain. The goal is to optimize how you use the incredible organ you already have to make it work better.
So the new belief isn't, I need to unlock the other 90%.
It's, I am learning to use my whole brain in the best way possible. It shifts the focus from lack to potential for improvement.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, the third lie Kwik identifies as a fundamental one, and I think it hits home for a lot of people. Lie number 3. Mistakes are failures.
Oh yeah, this one's deeply ingrained.
It really is. We often fear mistakes because right from our earliest school days, they were tied directly to judgment, red marks, failure. We were graded on them, sometimes even shamed for them.
That negative association is powerful.
I remember trying to learn guitar years ago, and every misplaced finger, every wrong chord felt like a personal failing, like proof I wasn't cut out for it. I really wish I'd had this framework back then. So for someone listening who truly fears making mistakes, where does Kwik suggest they even start to shift that deeply ingrained mindset? It feels like a big hurdle.
It does feel big, and that fear is real. Kwik suggests starting with a simple but powerful reframe. Instead of seeing a mistake as a dead end, a failure, view it as data.
Data, like information.
Exactly. Information about what didn't work, which guides you closer to what will work. Think about Albert Einstein, someone synonymous with brilliance, right?
Right, the genius archetype.
Well, his development was described as slow by teachers, and he was considered a below-average student initially. Even in his most important, groundbreaking work, he made numerous mathematical errors. Did that stop him?
Clearly not.
Not at all. Einstein famously said, a person who never made a mistake, never tried anything new. He didn't let mistakes define him or stop him. He kept experimenting, learning, contributing. Mistakes are, in fact, crucial learning tools. If you're not making mistakes, chances are you're not really pushing your boundaries or trying anything truly new or challenging.
You're playing it too safe.
Exactly. Mistakes are data points, not destiny. They guide you closer to the correct path, showing you where adjustments are needed.
So the new belief, therefore, is really powerful and liberating. There is no such thing as failure, only failure to learn.
Precisely. It shifts the focus from judgment to learning. It's about taking responsibility for extracting the lesson, reacquiring the information, rather than reinforcing a limiting belief about your own capabilities based on a temporary setback.
Okay, that's a huge mindset shift. Let's move to the next one. Lie number 4. Knowledge is power. We've all heard this phrase, haven't we? It's quoted all the time.
We have. It's often attributed to Sir Francis Bacon or Thomas Hobbes, and it certainly sounds compelling, doesn't it? It feels true on the surface.
It does. It implies that simply knowing something, possessing information, is enough to create impact, to make change, to be powerful. But Kwik argues this phrase is actually incomplete. And maybe, in today's information-rich world, it's more dangerous than ever to rely solely on that idea.
How so? Why dangerous?
Because we can get stuck in this endless consumption loop, right? Reading articles, watching videos, gathering information, but never actually doing anything with it. We feel informed, but we don't create anything new. Can you give us a quick, tangible example of how someone might go from merely knowing something to acting on it for a real outcome, especially now when it's so easy to just consume without ever producing?
Absolutely. Think about someone who knows all the theory behind starting a business.
Yeah.
They've read the books, listened to the podcasts. They have the knowledge.
I know the steps.
Right. But the power doesn't come until they act. Register the business, build the website, make the first sale. Or think about health. Someone knows they should exercise for their health. The knowledge is there, clear as day. But without the action actually getting up, putting on the shoes, and moving, that knowledge is dormant, powerless.
Just sitting there.
Exactly. In business, knowing a new market trend is one thing. Acting on that knowledge to pivot your product or service is where the real power, the real advantage lies. Cook emphasizes that while knowledge is absolutely foundational, you can't act without it. True power comes from applying that knowledge.
Doing something with it.
As the saying goes, it's better well done than well said. Knowing isn't enough. You have to act on it. In today's expert economy, as Kwik calls it, applied knowledge isn't just power, it's often profit too. Your ability to think, solve problems, create, innovate based on what you know, that's how you truly add value.
So the new, more complete belief isn't just knowledge is power, it's
Knowledge action. Power. It's an equation. The action is the multiplier that unlocks the potential energy stored in the knowledge. It's about turning information into tangible results, making it an active force in your life, not just passive trivia.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. Knowledge times action. Got it. What's the fifth lie?
Our fifth lie is lie number 5. Learning new things is very difficult. And this one resonates because many of us associate learning with those school day struggles.
Oh, yeah. Boredom, maybe shame, feeling too dumb compared to the kid next to you.
Exactly. Those negative emotional imprints can make us dread the idea of new learning or avoid it altogether as adults. We carry that baggage.
It's a common experience, those old school memories. Yet, Kiko highlights people like Carol Greider, a Nobel laureate who struggled significantly with dyslexia,
A real learning challenge.
but found ways to compensate, becoming brilliant at memorization. She didn't let the perceived difficulty stop her. She learned how she was smart. Now, learning shouldn't always be easy, right? In fact, Kwik argues it probably should be a little uncomfortable, pushing you just beyond what you already know.
The edge of your comfort zone.
Exactly. But that effort pays immense dividends, and it can absolutely be made more enjoyable, maybe even fun.
So you've dedicated your life to learning and teaching. Did you ever personally find learning new things difficult before you discovered these kinds of methods? How did you overcome that initial resistance or feeling of difficulty?
Oh, absolutely. I distinctly remember feeling utterly overwhelmed by complex subjects in university, spending hours rereading textbooks without really grasping the core concepts. It was deeply frustrating, and yeah, I definitely felt that pang of the maybe I'm just not smart enough for this sentiment sometimes.
So what changed? The turning point honestly came when I realized the problem wasn't me. It was my method. I was trying to brute force learning instead of working with my brain. Once I started actively experimenting with different techniques, breaking down information visually, using active recall, teaching it to someone else, the challenge shifted. It went from being this heavy burden to more like a puzzle, and eventually, yes, even a joy.
Finding the right tools for the job.
Exactly. And Kwik himself, remember, after his childhood brain injury, found immense joy and purpose in figuring out how to learn because the old ways weren't working for him. So the new belief here isn't that learning is easy, but rather, when you learn new ways how to learn, the challenge of learning new things can be fun, easier, and more enjoyable. It's about having the right strategies.
Empowering yourself with the process. Okay. Now, the sixth lie we often entertain, and this one can be a real killer of dreams and potential, I think. Lie number 6, the criticism of other people matters.
Oof, yeah. Fear of judgment.
This holds so many of us back, doesn't it? We limit ourselves, we play small, afraid of judgment, of looking foolish, of not being accepted or liked. So for someone who's constantly battling that inner critic, that voice fueled by real or imagined external criticism, how does Kwik suggest we develop that internal conviction, that self-belief, especially when the external noise feels so loud?
It's a profound challenge, no doubt, because as social creatures, our brains are literally wired for social connection and validation. So external opinions feel important. Kwik suggests we look at children. Why are they the fastest learners on the planet?
They just go for it.
Precisely. They have virtually no shame around failing or worrying about what others think. A toddler falls down hundreds, maybe thousands of times, learning to walk. Do they stop and worry about looking clumsy?
Not at all. They just get back up.
They just get back up undeterred because their inner drive to walk is way stronger than any perceived external judgment. Kwik also mentions Jim Carrey, right? A unique, often extreme actor.
Definitely unique.
Carrey believes his purpose is actually freeing people from concern so they can express who they really are. He thinks the biggest travesty is people limiting themselves simply because they're afraid of what others might think or say.
And think of historical examples like the Wright brothers. Their neighbors, even prominent scientists at the time, initially dismissed their flying machine as completely impossible, utterly ridiculous.
Laughed them out of town, practically.
But they persevered, despite what Kwik calls a woefully underwhelming public imagination. Apparently, the newspapers refused to even report on their first successful flight for weeks because scientists had already explained why humans couldn't fly. Their internal conviction, their belief in their project, was their rocket fuel.
Exactly. And the truth Kwik offers here is blunt, maybe, but incredibly liberating. It's not your job to like, love, or respect me. It's mine.
Wow. See that again?
It's not your job to like, love, or respect me. It's mine. He also adds a great filter. Don't take criticism from someone you wouldn't take advice from.
That's a good filter.
People will doubt you, criticize you, misunderstand you, no matter what you do. But their opinions don't define your potential or your worth. The new belief, the limitless belief is, it's not your job to like, love, or respect me. It's mine. Cultivating that deep self-respect is the ultimate armor against external negativity.
That's powerful. Okay, finally, we come to the seventh lie. Lie known 7. Genius is born.
The myth of innate talent.
Right. We tend to think of genius as this magical, innate, unchangeable trait, a gift bestowed at birth only upon a select few, the Einsteins, the Mozarts. And frankly, it's almost an excuse for the rest of us not to try as hard, isn't it? Well, I'm just not a genius.
It lets us off the hook, yeah.
Yeah.
But Jim Kwik powerfully challenges this by pointing to figures like Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee. Interesting example.
Think about it. As a child, Lee was apparently a street fighter, had poor grades, was often taunted for being different. Who, looking at him then, would have predicted a future martial arts master, philosopher, and global icon?
Probably no one.
Right. Lee's incredible talent, Kwik argues, was born of a confluence of experiences and circumstances. Sure, but crucially, it was forged through thousands upon thousands of hours of deep practice.
The hard work behind the scenes.
Exactly. His diverse influences, Wing Chun, dancing, boxing, fencing, they all coalesce through relentless effort into his unique philosophy of self-expression, Jeet Kune Do. As Kwik notes, genius leaves clues.
Oh.
There's always a method, a process, a dedication behind what looks like magic from the outside. There's always a story of effort behind what looks like innate, effortless talent.
So the new belief is clear, and it's incredibly empowering, maybe the most empowering of all. Genius is not born, it's made through deep practice.
It's earned.
It's about the effort, the learning, the consistent application over time. So I really encourage everyone listening, take a moment, maybe later today. Which of these 7 LIEs have you been entertaining, maybe without even realizing it? How do they show up in your self-talk? And maybe more importantly, which one are you ready to challenge first to really embark on your own hero's journey towards becoming limitless?
That's a great reflection point. Identifying the specific lie is key.
Definitely. Now, speaking of genius, Kwik doesn't just debunk the myth of it being purely innate. He also expands our understanding of what genius even looks like. It's not just about being an Einstein or a Shakespeare, right?
Not at all.
Yeah.
He draws on ancient wisdom and modern psychology to highlight 4 distinct forms of genius. And this is so helpful because it helps us recognize that our unique abilities are just as valuable, even if they don't fit that narrow traditional academic mold.
Okay, so what are these 4 types?
That's a crucial point, because if you only define genius in one specific way, usually intellectual or academic, you miss the brilliance sparkling in so many different kinds of people. Kwik broadens this definition, identifying 4 key types. First, the dynamo genius. These are individuals who express their genius primarily through creativity and generating new ideas. Think of Shakespeare, brilliant at inventing stories and language, or Galileo, who could literally see things others couldn't when looking at the skies, challenging centuries of established beliefs. They're the innovators, the visionaries, the conceptualizers.
The idea people.
Exactly. Then there's the Blaze genius. Their genius becomes really clear through their interaction with other people. They are master communicators, connectors, motivators. Oprah Winfrey, with her extraordinary ability to connect deeply and authentically with millions, or Malali Yousafzai, who makes her powerful story relatable and inspiring globally. They exemplify Blaze genius.
The people.
You could say that, yeah. Third is the tempo genius.
These individuals express genius through their ability to see the big picture, to stay the course over the long haul, demonstrating incredible long-term vision and persistence. Think of Nelson Mandela, seeing his vision through overwhelming odds for decades, or Mother Teresa, imagining and working towards better circumstances for the most vulnerable, even when things look bleakest. They have stamina and perspective.
The long game players.
Precisely. And finally, number 4 is the steel genius. These are people who are brilliant at, as Keat puts it, sweating the small stuff. They find crucial insights in details that others miss or couldn't even envision gathering. Sergey Brin co-founding Google by seeing the immense potential in organizing vast amounts of data, or Billy Beane redefining baseball through rigorous data crunching in Moneyball. They're excellent examples. They bring precision, analysis, and focus on the details.
The details, people. Dynamo, Blaze, Tempo, Steel. Interesting framework. I think most of us listening probably possess a combination of these, maybe leaning more heavily on one or two, right? Absolutely. It's rare to be purely one type. It's usually a blend.
The beauty here, I think, is recognizing your unique blend of genius, not just trying to force yourself into a narrow, outdated definition of what genius should look like. For me, thinking about it, I probably lean towards Dynamo and Blaze. I love generating ideas and connecting with people around them. Which type do you find is most commonly undervalued in our society today? Or maybe which one do you personally identify with most?
That's a great question. I think the tempo genius is often undervalued in our fast-paced, instant gratification culture. The ability to stay the course, to cultivate that long-term vision and see things through patiently isn't always flashy or celebrated, but it's profoundly impactful over time. We tend to focus on the quick wins. As for me personally, I probably resonate most with the steel genius. I genuinely love diving into the details, sifting through data or complex information, and finding those crucial patterns or insights that others might overlook in the broader narrative. But the key, as you said, is recognizing and then letting free whatever your unique blend of genius is. Don't keep it locked up.
Letting it free. I like that. Okay, so we've tackled the mindset piece. Busting lies, understanding genius. Now, shifting from those limiting beliefs to a positive, growth-oriented mindset isn't just about, thinking happy thoughts, is it? It has real, tangible effects.
Absolutely. Profound effects on our capabilities and even our physical health. Dr. Barbara Fredrickson's broaden and build theory is fascinating science that backs this up.
Broaden and build. Okay, break that down for us. How does it work?
Well, think about encountering that tiger in the forest, the classic example Fredrickson uses. Negative emotions like fear instantly narrow your focus. Your attention tunnels onto survival. You run, or you freeze, or you fight, and nothing else matters in that moment. Your options feel very limited.
Right, tunnel vision for survival.
Exactly. But Fredrickson's research shows that positive emotions, things like joy, contentment, interest, love, do the exact opposite. They broaden your sense of possibilities. They open up your awareness, helping you see more options, a wider range of potential actions, creative solutions you might never have noticed when your focus was constrained by fear or anxiety.
So positive emotions literally open your mind.
Yes. And that's the broaden part. The build part is even more interesting. This broaden and build effect means positive emotions actually help you build new skills and resources for the future.
How does that work? Building resources.
Think about a child playing joyfully outside. They aren't just having fun in that moment. Through that play, driven by positive emotion, they're actively developing physical skills, running, climbing, social skills, negotiating, cooperating, intellectual skills, problem solving, and creative skills, imagining. And these skills last long after the immediate emotion of play has faded.
So the positive feeling leads to actions that build lasting capacity.
Precisely. The happiness prompted the exploration and creation of these new skills, which continue to provide value throughout their life. Positive emotions aren't just pleasant, they're actively constructive.
So what does this all mean for you listening? Cultivating positive emotions literally transforms you for the better over time. It sets you on this upward spiral toward flourishing, resilience, and even healthy longevity. This new mindset, free from the grip of the inner critic and fueled by positivity, genuinely presents a world of possibilities and opportunities you might never have noticed before. It's like turning on a light in a previously dark room. So, Expert Kwik talks about practical ways to actually cultivate these positive emotions. What's one small daily practice he suggests that listeners can try right away to start leveraging this broaden and build effect? Something simple.
A really simple, yet profoundly effective practice Kwik strongly recommends is starting your day with gratitude. Before you even check your phone, before the digital deluge hits, just take maybe 2 minutes to consciously think of 3 specific things you're genuinely grateful for.
Just 3 things.
Just 3. It could be anything: your health, a supportive friend, the coffee brewing, the sun shining. Acknowledging them consciously. It's a small internal win right at the start of the day that can significantly shift your emotional baseline towards positivity and help broaden your perspective for everything that follows. It primes the pump for positivity.
Okay, so a powerful, positive mindset needs fuel, right? It needs drive. And that brings us perfectly to the second pillar of Kwik's M3 framework, motivation.
The engine of the system.
Exactly. And Jim Kwik offers a simple yet really profound formula to understand how this works, how we can cultivate it. Motivation, purpose, S, energy, S3. Small, simple steps. This isn't just about wishing you felt more motivated. It's about actively engineering it.
That equation is incredibly insightful because it breaks motivation down into its core components. It shows that sustainable motivation isn't just some switch you flip on or off.
Yeah.
It comes from having a clear why, your purpose.
The reason behind it all.
Right. Then having the vitality, the stamina to actually act on that purpose, your energy.
Can't run on empty.
Absolutely not. And finally, breaking down those potentially overwhelming goals into manageable, non-intimidating actions. Those small, simple steps, S3. If any one of these 3 elements, purpose, energy, or S3, is missing or weak, your motivation equation diminishes significantly. It just collapses.
The stool wobbles again.
Exactly. And crucially, Kwik emphasizes it's fundamentally about energy management, not just time management. Because without the physical and mental energy to execute, even the clearest purpose and the smallest steps won't happen. You'll just feel drained and unable to start.
That really resonates. Think about a time you felt really unmotivated about something. Was it a lack of clear purpose? Were you just physically or mentally exhausted? Or perhaps the task itself felt so huge and overwhelming that you didn't know where to begin?
It's usually one of those 3, isn't it?
For me, I know it's often when a goal feels too abstract or too far off in the future. Like I'm running a marathon, but I can't even see the first mile marker, let alone the finish line. That lack of immediate connection or progress can kill motivation fast.
That's a perfect example of purpose feeling too distant, or the steps seeming too large.
So let's dive deeper into purpose first, that why. Your purpose, as Kwik defines it, is the central motivating aim of your life, or at least of a specific goal. It's the reason you get up in the morning, the driving force behind your actions.
The core driver.
Kwik shares his own purpose, for example, which is to unlock better, brighter brains, because he doesn't want anyone else to struggle with learning the way he did as a child. It's about having a clear, definite reason that drives you, something often bigger than just personal gain or ticking a box.
And to make your goals and your purpose truly powerful, truly motivating, Kwik suggests they should align with your heart. This is another great acronym he uses to make it actionable.
Heart. Okay, what does that stand for?
H is for healthy. Your goals should support your overall well-being, mental, physical, and emotional. If pursuing a goal consistently compromises your health, it's probably not a sustainable or truly motivating goal in the long run.
Makes sense. E.
E is for enduring. Your purpose and goals should be inspiring enough, resilient enough to sustain you during the inevitable difficult times when you feel like quitting. They need to provide a strong foundation.
Got it. A.
A is for alluring. They should be so exciting, so enticing, so engaging that you feel genuinely pulled towards them, rather than feeling like you constantly have to push yourself against internal resistance. There should be some intrinsic desire.
That pull versus push distinction is key.
R. R is for relevant. Your goals should clearly relate to a challenge you're currently facing, your broader life's purpose, or your core values. You need to know why you're setting this particular goal, otherwise it will lack depth and staying power.
And T.
And T, perhaps most importantly, is for truth. Your goal must be something you genuinely want, deep down in your core, not just something based on external expectations, societal pressure, or what others tell you should pursue. If it's not true to you, Kwik argues, you're far more likely to procrastinate or even unconscious self-sabotage.
Healthy, enduring, alluring, relevant, truth, heart. That's a great checklist for defining motivating goals. And what about passion? People talk about finding their passion all the time.
Right. It's often presented as this single thing you have to discover. But Kwik has a slightly different take. He says passion isn't about finding some single predetermined path or destiny you were born with.
So it's not a treasure hunt.
Not exactly.
Right.
It's more about experimenting to see what ignites your joy. Passion, he believes, is developed through experience, through investment of time and energy, and often through overcoming struggle in an area that interests you. And importantly, you can cultivate multiple passions simultaneously. You don't have to feel pressured to choose just one thing.
So it's okay to be passionate about coding and baking and hiking.
Absolutely. It's about rediscovering your authentic, alive self, allowing yourself the freedom to explore whatever genuinely excites and energizes you without judgment.
Okay. Now, deeply tied into motivation, Kwik talks about identity, who you fundamentally think you are.
Yes, this is huge. He emphasizes that the two most powerful words in the English language are the shortest. I am. Whatever you consistently put after those two words, whether consciously or unconsciously, determines your destiny because it shapes your perception of yourself and therefore your capabilities and actions.
It's like setting the script for your own life.
Exactly. This isn't just semantics. It's powerful, self-fulfilling prophecy.
And this is so critical, isn't it? If you constantly identify as a slow learner or believe, I just can't learn new tech or I'm not creative, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your brain literally seeks evidence to validate those statements and filters out evidence to the contrary.
It wants to be consistent with its self-image.
Right. So consciously choosing new, empowering I am, statements like I am a fast and efficient learner, I am adaptable, I am creative, harnesses your highest psychological drive, the drive to act consistently with how you perceive yourself. It's a powerful force, almost like reprogramming your internal operating system.
And our values also play a huge role here, forming a kind of hierarchy that influences our behavior without us always realizing it. If you genuinely want to remember people's names, for instance, Kwik argues you must first truly value relationships and making connections. If you find yourself consistently lacking motivation for a certain task or goal, it's often a hidden sign that your actions aren't actually aligning with what you truly value most deeply.
A values mismatch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Your motivation will inevitably wane if your daily efforts don't actively support your deepest held values. There's no authentic drive.
So, a really powerful self-reflection exercise for everyone listening. What I am statements do you typically use, consciously or unconsciously? And do they serve your limitless potential or do they inadvertently create limits for you? It can reveal a lot about your subconscious beliefs.
Definitely worth pondering.
Okay, so even with a clear purpose aligned with your heart and a strong limitless identity, without energy, motivation just fizzles out, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It's the E in the equation.
Kwik really emphasizes that motivation is fundamentally about energy management and optimization. I know for myself, a foggy brain and low physical energy can completely derail even the most well-intentioned plans. So let's look at how to properly fuel your ultimate superpower, your brain.
Yes, let's get practical. The brain is an absolute energy hog. As we mentioned, it uses a remarkable 20% of our total energy intake, despite being only about 2% of our body weight. Dr. Lisa Mosconi, a neuroscientist and integrative nutritionist, highlights that the human brain requires at least 45 distinct nutrients to function optimally.
45 nutrients, that's specific.
It is. An inferior fuel, think highly processed foods, refined sugars, unhealthy fats, directly impairs brain function. It can cause inflammation, contribute to mood disorders like anxiety and depression. What you eat literally directly impacts how you think, how you feel, and how motivated you are.
So food is brain fuel, plain and simple. Kwik gives us his top 10 brain foods. These are like your nutritional allies in this quest for limitless energy.
Let's hear them.
We're talking about powerhouses like avocados for healthy blood flow to the brain. Blueberries, often called rainberries, packed with antioxidants that protect against aging and boost memory. Broccoli, surprisingly good for cognitive function and memory.
Broccoli, again, the unsung hero.
Right. Then dark chocolate, the good stuff, 70% cacao or higher, great for focus, endorphins, and flavonoids. Eggs, especially the yolks, rich in memory-improving choline. Green leafy vegetables like spinach and kale, loaded with the vitamin E and folate, crucial for brain health. Salmon, sardines, and even caviar, if you're feeling fancy, for those essential omega-3 fatty acids that actively reduce brain aging. Turmeric, the spice, amazing anti-inflammatory and oxygen booster. Walnuts, full of antioxidants, healthy fats, zinc, magnesium, good for mood, and maybe the simplest but most crucial, water.
Hydration is key.
Absolutely key. Your brain is about 80% water, and even slight dehydration can cause significant brain fog, fatigue, and diminished mental performance. You feel it immediately.
And the book doesn't just list them, right? It gives practical ways to eat them.
Exactly. It even provides actual recipes, like a morning magic smoothie and a brain boost salad, to help you easily incorporate these brain-fueling foods into your daily diet. It makes the abstract concept of eat well for your brain very concrete and doable. Out of those top 10, what's one brain food that you think people often overlook or might be surprised to find on that list, and why is it so powerful for cognitive function?
Well, you mentioned broccoli, and I still think that's a surprising powerhouse for many. But another one might be eggs, specifically the yolks. For years, yolks got a bad rap because of cholesterol concerns, but they are one of the richest sources of choline, which is absolutely vital for producing acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter essential for memory and learning. So don't skip the yolks if you want peak brain function.
Good tip. Choline in the yolks. Okay. Now, beyond whole foods, Kwik also mentions specific nutrients that can directly affect cognitive ability, providing more targeted support.
Yes. Sometimes targeted supplementation can be beneficial, though whole foods are always the foundation. For instance, he talks about phospholipid DHA and omega-3 fatty acid. Your brain literally uses DHA to build healthy cell membranes. These membranes are crucial for the receptors involved in mood regulation, executive function, attention span, and memory formation. It's like the basic building block for optimal brain cell communication.
So fundamental structure.
Very fundamental. Research has also shown that B vitamins can significantly improve memory performance, particularly in women. And curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, has shown real promise in helping to forestall cognitive decay due to its potent anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties. It's like a natural protector for your brain cells.
Interesting. Okay, diet and nutrients covered. What about exercise? We all know exercise is good for the body, but what's the specific link to the brain?
It's incredibly direct and powerful. It's not just a physical benefit, it's a profound cognitive enhancer. Heidi Godman, who's the executive editor of the Harvard Health Letter, writes that regular aerobic exercise, think running, swimming, brisk walking, actually boosts the size of the hippocampus.
The hippocampus, that's the memory center, right?
Exactly. The brain area absolutely crucial for verbal memory and learning. Exercise literally makes your memory center bigger and stronger. And even just 10 minutes of aerobic exercise a day can have enormous benefits, making you feel sharper, improving blood flow, and enhancing overall brain function. That blood flow alone is a huge game changer for delivering oxygen and nutrients.
But consistency is the key here, isn't it? It's not about one heroic workout.
Absolutely. A University of British Columbia study, for example, found significant improvements in sleep quality, which we'll get to, only after participants exercised regularly for 16 weeks, not just after a few sessions. It's about building that routine, making movement a non-negotiable part of your day, like brushing your teeth.
Okay. Diet, nutrients, exercise. What about our surroundings? Does our environment affect our brain energy?
Subtly, but profoundly, yes. Kwik highlights two aspects here. First, your peer group. A positive and supportive peer group can significantly enhance your learning, motivation, and growth. Your brain naturally adapts and mirrors the influences and attitudes of those you spend the most time with. We literally become more like the 5 people we associate with most closely. Choose your influences wisely.
Surround yourself with radiators, not drains.
Exactly. And second, your physical environment. A clean, well-lighted, and organized workspace reduces distractions and allows your brain to function much more efficiently. Our brains crave clarity and order. Mental clutter is often a direct reflection of physical clutter in our surroundings. So clear your desk, clear your mind. It actually works.
Simple but effective. Okay, environment matters. Now let's talk about something huge, probably one of the most underrated pillars of brain health. Sleep.
Sleep, yes. It's not just passive rest, it's active, essential brain maintenance. It's a critical period for your brain's health, function, and energy restoration.
Active maintenance, how so?
Dr. Jeff Iliff, a neuroscientist, describes the brain's fascinating glymphatic system, essentially, its waste clearance system, which functions primarily during sleep. He calls it the brain's laundry cycle.
Laundry cycle for the brain.
Yeah. During deep sleep, cerebrospinal fluid flushes through the brain, clearing out metabolic waste products that accumulate during waking hours. This includes sticky proteins like amyloid beta, which is strongly linked to the development of Alzheimer's disease. While we're awake, the brain is just too busy processing information and reacting to the world to perform this crucial cleaning cycle effectively.
Wow. So if you don't sleep enough, that waste just builds up.
Yes. Exactly. Lack of sufficient quality sleep, therefore, can significantly diminish learning consolidation, memory formation, decision-making abilities, emotional regulation, and creativity across the board. It impacts everything. Kwik offers practical sleep tips, of course. Ensuring a cool, dark, quiet room. Avoiding stimulating screens, phones, tablets, TVs, for at least an hour before your bed. Maintaining a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends. All crucial for optimizing this critical brain function. So, thinking about sleep tips, what's one non-obvious sleep tip from Kwik that people often miss, but you think can make a really big difference? That's a good question, because the basics like dark room and no screens are well known. One non-obvious but powerful tip Kwik emphasizes is to make your bedroom a true sleep sanctuary. This means it should be associated almost exclusively with sleep and intimacy. No work in bed, no watching stressful news in bed, no eating dinner in bed. Your brain should get a powerful psychological cue when you enter that room and get into bed. Okay, it's time to wind down and sleep now. Removing those other associations can be surprisingly effective.
Creating a strong sleep association? I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, another big energy drain. Stress. Kwik calls stress a deadly supervillain that hijacks our focus, drains our energy, and pulls us away from our goals.
It really is. Chronic stress floods your system with cortisol, which is terrible for focus, memory, and long-term health. And Kwik talks specifically about automatic negative thoughts, ANTs.
ANTs, like the insects.
Exactly. Those little persistent self-limiting whispers in your head. I'm not smart enough. I'll probably fail. This will only lead to disappointment. What will people think? I know I've certainly had my share of ANTs trying to convince me I can't tackle a big project or learn something new. They just crawl into your mind.
Me too. They can be relentless.
And eliminating these ANTs, or at least learning to manage them, is crucial because, as Kwik bluntly puts it, if you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
Yeah.
If you constantly argue for why you can't do something, your brain will accept that as truth. Those negative thoughts become self-reinforcing prophecies.
So how do we fight the ANTs?
Meditation is an incredibly powerful tool for managing stress and those ANTs. Research shows it can boost immune function, decrease anxiety and depression, improve focus, and even physically increase gray matter density in the brain over time. And it's not about emptying your mind completely, which feels impossible for most people. As Ariel Garden, the creator of the Muse Meditation headband, clarifies, it's really about training your mind to be aware in the present moment, noticing when the ANTs crawl in, and gently redirecting your focus, usually to your breath. Even just 3 minutes of focused breathing can be profoundly beneficial in disrupting those negative thought loops.
Just 3 minutes. Anyone can find 3 minutes. Okay, finally, in this energy section, Kwik emphasizes the importance of new learning itself for brain health.
Yes. To keep your brain healthy, adaptable, resilient, and performing at its best throughout your life, you should truly never stop learning. It's like cognitive exercise. Consistent engagement keeps it strong and flexible.
Use it or lose it again.
Pretty much. Actively challenging yourself with new skills, learning an instrument, a language, a complex game, or immersing yourself in different cultures or subjects creates new neural pathways. This actively maintains neuroplasticity, that ability of the brain to reorganize itself. This continuous engagement keeps your neurons firing, building new connections, and keeping your brain plastic and supple, capable of processing new information in relevant ways. It expands your cognitive capabilities over time rather than letting them atrophy from lack of use. The brain thrives on novelty and challenge. It gets bored and lazy otherwise.
All right, we've established the limitless mindset. We've fueled it with motivation and energy. Now, for the third M, the how, the methods. This is where we get really actionable, the practical toolkit.
The superhero toolkit, yes, where the rubber meets the road.
And the first, perhaps most foundational method Kwik discusses is about taking small, simple steps, S3. This is where we translate all that good intention into actual, consistent action.
Exactly. Because big goals can feel overwhelming, right? And overwhelm leads to procrastination. S3 is the antidote. And there's actually some interesting psychology behind why small steps work so well. It relates to the Zeigarnik effect.
The Zeigarnik effect. What's that?
It was discovered by a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik. She noticed waiters seemed to remember complex orders perfectly until the bill was paid, after which they promptly forgot the details. Her research found that our brains tend to remember unfinished or interrupted tasks much better than completed ones. There's a kind of mental tension created by incompleteness that keeps the task at the forefront of our minds.
Like leaving a half-written email open or that nagging feeling from an unchecked item on your to-do list.
Precisely. It's constantly nagging you, pushing you towards completion just to relieve that tension. That's the Zeigarnik effect in action. And this is why starting with small, easily achievable steps, even if they feel incomplete initially, can powerfully drive us forward. Just starting creates that mental tension that pulls you along.
That's fascinating. It's like using a quirk of our brain to our advantage. Kwik also recounts a parable, doesn't he, about a king and a magician.
Yes, a great story. A king believed a magician's incredible skill was purely a God-given talent, something innate. But his wise counselor disagreed, arguing it was the result of discipline and practice. To prove it, the counselor, while imprisoned, asked to raise piglets. He started carrying them daily. As the piglets grew steadily into heavy boars, his strength grew incrementally along with them until he could perform amazing feats.
So small, consistent effort building massive strength over time.
Exactly. The story powerfully illustrates Kwik's point. Genius is made, not born, through consistent, small daily efforts. It's not usually about huge, sudden leaps, but about persistent, incremental progress compounding over time.
And James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits, reinforces this beautifully, doesn't he?
He really does. Clear says, the habits you repeat, or don't repeat, every day largely determine your health, wealth, and happiness down the road. Habits are essentially automated solutions to recurring problems in our environment. They free up immense mental energy because you don't have to consciously decide every single time.
They put behavior on autopilot.
Exactly. And that University College London study he mentions found it takes an average of 66 days, not 21, as the old myth goes, to form a new habit to the point of automaticity. This emphasizes that consistency over a couple of months is far more important than intensity in the short term. It's not about one huge effort, but many tiny ones repeated consistently.
Okay, so how do we actually build these small habits effectively? Kwik offers the WIN acronym, right?
Yes, WIN. It helps you create new habits that are more likely to stick. W is for want. You have to make sure you genuinely want the outcome of the habit. Tie it back to your deeper purpose, your values, your heart goals. If you don't really want it, you won't stick with it.
Intrinsic motivation again.
I is for innate. Align the habit with your natural abilities, your strengths, or at least something you can realistically become good at. Work with your unique genius. Don't fight against it constantly. Make it feel somewhat natural.
Play to your strengths.
And N is for now.
Create a specific prompt or trigger for immediate action. Remove as much friction as possible between the cue and the behavior. Make it easy to start right now. Don't wait for the perfect moment.
Want, innate, now. WN. Can you give an example? Kwik shares his own morning routine. Yes, his morning routine is a perfect example of layering small, simple steps. He makes the bed, quick win, hydrates, has celery juice, takes probiotics, does a cold shower, energy boost, breathing exercises, meditation, makes his brain smoothie. Each step is relatively small on its own, but together these consistent actions build powerful momentum and set a positive, energetic tone for a limitless day. So, for you listening, what's just one small, simple step in S3 that you can take today, maybe even right after this, to move towards a goal you have in mind? It doesn't have to be monumental, maybe something that takes less than 5 minutes, just to start building that momentum.
Just one small step that feels doable. Okay, so beyond building those foundational habits with S3, there's a state of optimal experience, peak performance, that Kwik emphasizes: flow.
Ah, the flow state, yes.
Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who pioneered the research on flow, describes it as being so involved in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. The experience itself is so enjoyable that people will do it even at great cost for the sheer sake of doing it. It's that incredible feeling of being completely absorbed in the zone.
It feels effortless, yet highly productive. And Stephen Kotler from the Flow Research Collective has done amazing work breaking down flow, making it feel less mystical and more like a predictable, achievable cycle. He identifies 4 distinct stages.
4 stages. Okay, what are they?
First, there's the struggle phase. This is the initial period of deep focus, gathering information, research, brainstorming, practicing. It often feels hard, messy, effortful, really the opposite of effortless flow. It's where you load your brain with the necessary information and grapple intensely with the problem or skill.
So flow doesn't start with feeling good.
Often not. Stage 2 is crucial. Relaxation. This is a deliberate break you take after the struggle but before fully diving into the flow state itself. It's essential to prevent burnout and allow your subconscious mind to process the information you loaded in the struggle phase. It's not about distraction, like checking social media. It's a strategic pause, maybe a short walk, some deep breathing, staring out the window, anything that disengages your conscious, analytical mind.
Letting the background processing happen.
Exactly. Then comes stage 3, Flow. This is what Kotler calls the Superman experience, where the work suddenly feels automatic, intuitive, effortless. You're performing at your absolute best, time seems to warp or disappear, and your output can be incredible in both quantity and quality.
That's the magic zone.
That's the zone. And finally, stage 4 is consolidation. In this final stage, after the flow state ends, you process and integrate what was achieved. You internalize the learning, the insights, the progress. This is often followed by a temporary come-down as the neurochemicals associated with flow recede. This consolidation phase is vital for locking in the gains and motivating you to seek out flow again in the future.
Struggle, relaxation, flow, consolidation, that framework makes it seem much more accessible. That relaxation stage, though, sounds counterintuitive but absolutely vital. For someone who's stuck in the struggle phase, feeling frustrated and blocked, what's a practical way Kwik suggests to actually force that transition into the relaxation stage so they can even hope to reach flow? Because just telling yourself to relax doesn't always work.
No, it usually doesn't. Kwik suggests a forced break that is completely unrelated to the task at hand. Don't just switch to another type of work. Physically get up, walk around the block, do 10 jumping jacks, listen to one song you love, do some quick stretches, or even just deliberately stare out the window and let your mind wander for 5 minutes. The key is to fully disengage your active analytical problem-solving mind and allow that diffuse background thinking mode to take over. It's about actively replenishing that mental fuel tank, not just diverting it to another demanding task.
Disengage completely.
Yeah.
Got it. Kwik also outlines 5 practical ways to deliberately find flow to increase the chances of entering that state.
Yes, conditions that make flow more likely. First, and maybe most obviously, eliminate distractions. He cites research suggesting it can take up to 20 minutes to fully reconnect with a task after being significantly distracted. So, turn off notifications, close irrelevant tabs, signal to others you need focused time.
Protect your focus bubble.
Second, give yourself enough time. Flow doesn't usually happen in 5-minute bursts. Plan for dedicated blocks of focused work, ideally at least 90 to 120 minutes, as it takes time for your brain to move through the struggle and relaxation phases to reach peak flow.
Okay.
Third, do something you love, or at least something you find intrinsically interesting or meaningful. Activities you're deeply passionate about or engaged in are far more likely to lead to a flow state naturally.
Makes sense. Fourth,
have clear goals for the section. A lack of clarity about what you're trying to achieve is a major flow preventer. Know exactly what success looks like for that block of time.
And
fifth, challenge yourself, but just a little. Flow happens most readily when the task is slightly outside your current comfort zone, what's called the challenge skills balance. If it's too easy, you get bored. If it's overwhelmingly difficult, you get anxious. Find that sweet spot that demands your full attention and stretches you just enough without overwhelming you.
Eliminate distractions, enough time, love it, clear goals, challenge yourself a little.
Got it. And just as there are ways to find flow, Kwik also mentions villains that actively prevent it.
Absolutely. Things that knock you out of the potential for flow. The big ones include stress, which we already discussed. It hijacks your focus, floods your system with cortisol, and makes deep concentration impossible. Also, fear of failure, which often manifests as perfectionism. Hara Estroff-Marano, editor-at-large for Psychology Today, notes that perfectionism actively reduces creativity and innovation because you're too afraid to experiment or make mistakes, which locks you out of the playful, exploratory nature required for flow.
Perfectionism kills flow.
Definitely. And third, lack of conviction. If you're filled with doubt or uncertainty about the task or your ability to do it, your brain perceives that uncertainty as a threat, releasing cortisol and disrupting performance. You need a certain level of confidence and commitment to enter flow. So, addressing these internal blocks, managing stress, embracing imperfection, building conviction is crucial to truly open yourself up to the possibility of flow. Okay, managing the inner game is key for flow. Now, in a world drowning in digital distractions, focused concentration itself feels like a superpower, maybe the most valuable superpower today.
I completely agree. As that Hindu priest and former monk, Dandapani, told Jim Kwik in an interview, concentration is at the crux of all human success and endeavor. Think about it. If you can't concentrate, you can't learn effectively, you can't problem solve deeply, you can't execute plans, you can't manifest your goals or unlock your potential. It's foundational.
Foundational. And Kwik emphasizes that concentration is like a muscle, right? It strengthens with practice.
Exactly like a muscle. Just like lifting weights strengthens your biceps, practicing focus strengthens your brain's ability to concentrate. The problem is, most of us spend hours every single day unintentionally practicing distraction. Constantly checking phones, switching tabs, reacting to notifications. We're actively training our brains to jump from thought to thought, weakening that concentration muscle.
Training ourselves to be distractible. Sadly, yes. And this literally changes our brains. That University College London study showed that people who identified as heavy multitaskers actually had smaller gray matter density in their anterior cingulate cortex, a key brain region involved in focus, attention control, and emotional regulation. Conversely, studies on meditation show that those who actively train their attention can see this area grow thicker and more robust over time. You shape your brain through your habits of attention.
That's incredible. We're physically changing our brains based on where we put our focus. Juliet Funt, the CEO of Whitespace at Work, talks about the importance of whitespace, doesn't she?
Yes, she calls that intentional thinking time, that strategic pause in the busyness, the oxygen that allows everything else to catch fire. It's absolutely essential for mental clarity, for creativity, for allowing ideas to incubate and connect. We need breaks from constant input and output.
So how do we actually cultivate more focus? Kwik offers some practical tools. He does. One key strategy is to deal with the most important thing first, especially that one thing you're avoiding. Often, the task we procrastinate on the most is the one that takes up the most mental bandwidth, constantly invading our thoughts and draining energy. Tackling it first frees up huge amounts of focus.
Eat the frog, as they say.
Exactly. Secondly, as we discussed for flow, eliminate distractions proactively. Turn off notifications, close unnecessary tabs, create a focused environment. And thirdly, an interesting technique, schedule time for distractions.
Schedule distractions. How does that work?
Instead of letting worries, random ideas, or non-urgent tasks constantly creep in and derail your focus throughout the day, consciously decide to contain them. Tell yourself, okay, I'll worry about that email problem idea at 4:15 p.m. today. Write it down if you need to. This helps acknowledge the thought without letting it hijack your current focus block. It's about taking conscious control of where your attention goes rather than being passively pulled around.
Containing the mental clutter. I like that. Okay, focus is key. Yeah, let's talk about studying and learning itself. Many of us, maybe most of us, were never actually taught how to study effectively beyond just read it again, or maybe cramming the night before an exam.
So true. We were taught what to learn, but rarely how to learn.
This next section on methods for study could be a real game changer for anyone learning anything, students, professionals learning new skills, anyone trying to retain information better.
Absolutely. And to understand our learning journey, Kwik first outlines 4 levels of competence. Thinking about these can provide a useful roadmap for growth and mastery. Level 1 is unconscious incompetence. This is the you don't know what you don't know stage. For example, you might not even be aware that techniques like speed reading or advanced memory strategies even exist. You're unaware of your lack of skill.
Blissful ignorance, perhaps.
Level 2 is conscious incompetence. Now you're aware of what you don't know. You know speed reading exists, you know it's a skill, but you lack the training and ability to do it effectively yourself. You're aware of the gap.
Okay, awareness dawns.
Level 3 is conscious competence. You can now do the skill, but it takes active, conscious effort and concentration. You can speed read, for instance, but you have to deliberately apply the techniques and focus hard while doing it. It's not automatic yet.
It requires effort.
Level 4 is unconscious competence. The skill has become second nature, it's automatic. Speed reading simply becomes the natural way you read, effortlessly, without having to consciously think about the technique anymore. Kwik actually adds a potential 5th level here, true mastery, where you perform at an elite, truly limitless level and can often even teach the skill effectively to others. The key to moving progressively through these levels, of course, is consistent, deliberate practice and intentional application of the methods.
Unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, unconscious competence, and mastery. And that's a helpful progression. So thinking about traditional study methods, why do they often fail us? Take cramming, for instance. Why is that so ineffective for long-term learning?
Cramming is largely ineffective for durable, long-term retention, primarily because of how our memory works, specifically due to the primacy and recency effect.
Primacy and recency.
Yeah, it means we tend to remember the first things, primacy, and the last things, recency, in a learning session, much better than the information presented in the middle. When you cram trying to stuff huge amounts of information into your brain in one long, undifferentiated session, most of the information falls into that forgotten middle part. You might retain enough for a test the next day, but it fades incredibly quickly. You're working directly against your brain's natural encoding process, leading to burnout and very superficial, fleeting learning.
So short focus sessions are better than one marathon cram session.
Much better. Which leads us to Kwik's 7 powerful habits for studying better. Habits that actually leverage how your brain really works. First is active recall. This is huge. After reviewing material, close the book or look away from your notes and actively try to recite or write down everything you can remember. This forces your brain to retrieve the information, which is a much more powerful memory-strengthening activity than simply rereading or recognizing it. It clearly differentiates what you merely recognize from what you truly recollect and understand.
Retrieval practice. Okay.
Second is spaced repetition. Instead of massed practice, reviewing something over and over in one go, space out your reviews over increasing intervals of time. Focus especially on the information you struggled to recall previously. Kwik says this hacks your brain because introducing a slight challenge trying to recall something you almost forgot makes the learning feel effortful in a good way. That effort signals to your brain that the information is important, strengthening the neural connections for much better long-term retention. James Gupta, CEO of Synapse, confirms this leads to long-term durable retention. So how exactly does spaced repetition hack your brain for better memory in that way? What's happening neurologically? It works by creating what neuroscientists call a desirable difficulty. When you successfully retrieve a piece of information that you almost forgot, that struggle followed by success sends a strong signal to your brain. It basically said, hey, I had to work hard to get this one back. This must be important. Your brain then tags that memory trace for strengthening, making the neural pathway more robust and durable. It's like applying resistance training specifically to the memory traces that need it most, making them stronger over time, rather than just passively rereading things you already know well.
Desirable difficulty. Like that framing. Okay, third habit.
Third is consciously manage the forgetting curve. Remember Ebbinghaus's forgetting curve. We forget approximately 50% of new information within just 1 hour, and maybe 70% within 24 hours if we don't review it. Regular spaced review, as we just discussed, actively combats this natural decline and keeps information accessible. You have to fight against forgetting proactively.
Okay.
Fourth, optimizing your study environment. We touched on this with energy, but it bears repeating for study. A clear, organized, distraction-free space is crucial for minimizing cognitive load and allowing for deep focus. Tidy space, tidy mind. Fifth, employ the Pomodoro technique. Work in focus bursts, typically 25 minutes, followed by a short 5-minute break. This respects our brain's natural concentration cycles, which tend to wane somewhere between 10 and 40 minutes for most people. Taking regular short breaks prevents mental fatigue, helps maintain high focus during the work sprints, and can actually increase overall productivity.
Pomodoro. 25 on, 5 off.
Sixth is about active listening, especially crucial for lectures or important conversations. Kwik uses the acronym here. HALT. Stop everything else. Tune out internal and external distractions. Be fully present. Listen for more than just the words. Listen for the meaning behind them. Empathy. Try to genuinely understand the speaker's perspective, their intention, their feelings. See it from their side. Anticipate. Engage with enthusiasm. Lean in. Ask yourself what you want to learn. Tying emotion to information makes it much more memorable. Review. Mentally summarize, ask clarifying questions, take concise notes, reflect on what's being said, paraphrase it in your own mind or words.
HALT, empathy, anticipate, review, hear. Okay. And the 7th habit relates to note-taking itself.
Yes, take note of taking notes using the acronym T-Type-E. Think, before you even start taking notes, clarify your intention. Why are you taking these notes? What's your purpose? What key information do you hope to retain or use later? This primes your brain. Identify. As you listen or read, actively identify and write down only the most important, relevant information. Don't try to transcribe everything verbatim that prevents active processing. Filter for significance. Prioritize. Crucially, review and organize your note after the session. Prioritize the key takeaways. Add structure like outlines or mind maps. Pull out action items. Clarify anything confusing. Make the notes maximally useful for your future self.
Think, identify, prioritize, TTP. That's practical. And you mentioned a crucial detail here earlier, the benefit of handwriting notes, right? Even on a tablet.
Yes. Research consistently shows that handwriting notes, even with an electronic pen on a tablet, is generally more effective for learning and retention than typing notes on a keyboard. Why? Because typing can often become mindless transcription. Handwriting is inherently slower, forcing you to listen more actively, process the information immediately, synthesize it, and reframe it in your own words in order to keep up. That active processing leads to deeper encoding and better long-term recall. It's a more engaged form of learning.
More processing, less transcribing. Got it. Okay, methods for study are covered. What about memory itself? So many people believe they just have a bad memory, as if it's some fixed, untrainable trait they're stuck with, which sounds suspiciously like one of those LIEs we busted earlier.
It absolutely is. Line number one again, essentially the idea that this ability is fixed. But Kwik powerfully argues and demonstrates that memory is entirely trainable. It's a skill, not an innate gift. Look at Joshua Foer, the journalist he mentions. Foer covered the USA Memory Championship, got intrigued, learned the ancient memory techniques, often called the art of memory, practiced them diligently, and returned the very next year to win the competition himself.
Wow, from journalist to memory champion in 1 year.
Exactly. He proved definitively that what looks like superhuman memory genius can actually be learned and developed through specific methods and consistent practice. It demystifies memory.
That's incredible. And why is having a good trained memory so important beyond just recalling facts for a test?
Because our ability to reason, to think critically, to be creative, relies heavily on having a rich, accessible store of memories and knowledge to draw upon. As neuroscientist Dr. Eve Marder asked rhetorically, how does one know what to look up if one has forgotten so much? If you don't retain foundational knowledge in a field, your ability to make connections between ideas, to innovate, to solve complex problems is severely hampered. Memory isn't just about passive recall. It's the active building blocks of higher-level thought.
The foundation for thinking. Okay, so how do we train it? Kwik offers the MOM mnemonic for improving memory, right? Simple but powerful.
Yes, MOM. It gives you a basic framework. M is for motivation. We talked about this. You're overwhelmingly more likely to remember something if you have a strong reason, purpose, or potential reward associated with it. Ask yourself, why do I want to remember this? Make remembering personal and valuable to you. Find your motivation.
Connect it to your why.
O is for observation. Kwik argues that most perceived memory problems are actually attention problems. If you weren't truly paying attention when the information was presented, if you were distracted or mentally elsewhere, you never properly encoded it in the first place. So be truly present. Pay attention. You can't remember what you didn't observe.
Attention is the gateway. And the second M?
The second M is for methods. This is about using specific, proven tools and techniques to encode information more effectively, going beyond simple repetition. The Baker-Baker paradox illustrates this beautifully.
Baker-Baker paradox, what's that?
It's a finding from cognitive psychology. If you show people a picture of a man and tell half of them his name's Baker, capital B, and tell the other half his profession is a baker, lowercase b, the group told his profession is significantly more likely to remember the word baker later. Why? Because the profession baker automatically triggers associations, images of bread, ovens, white hats, maybe a specific smell. It creates multiple memory hooks. The name baker is abstract. It doesn't readily connect to anything else in your mind. So associating information with vivid images, emotions, or existing knowledge using methods makes it far more memorable than just trying to remember abstract facts or names in isolation.
Creating those mental hooks, that makes sense. And this contrasts sharply with rote learning, right? Just repeating something over and over.
Absolutely. Rote learning, pure repetition without active engagement or association, is largely ineffective for creating durable long-term memories. It's tedious, it only uses a small analytical part of your brain, and research shows you can forget as much as 85% of information learned this way within just 48 hours. It's why cramming feels so futile afterward. The information just evaporates.
So instead of rote learning, Kwik teaches memory tools that leverage 3 key principles: association, emotion, and location.
Exactly. Creating vivid, often humorous, exaggerated, or highly emotional stories or images to link pieces of information together, association and emotion. Or mentally placing pieces of information in specific spots within a familiar mental environment, like your house or a route you walk. Often, this is the location method, often called a memory palace, or the method of loci used since ancient Greece. These techniques make information far more memorable because they engage more of your brain, your visual cortex, your emotional centers, your spatial memory.
Using your whole brain again.
Precisely. Kwik even includes a great exercise in the book, where he guides you to memorize a list of 10 random words by linking them together in an imaginative, silly story. And then he has you recall them perfectly, even backward. It's a fantastic demonstration that your memory capacity is far greater than you think. You just need the right methods to unlock it. It proves the memory can be actively built and manipulated with technique. So, thinking about those tools, association, emotion, location, which one do you find yourself using most effectively in your daily life? That's tough, as they often work together, but I'm a huge fan of the location method and the memory palace technique. It's incredibly versatile and scalable. I use it for remembering everything from key speaking points for a presentation to complex technical sequences, even grocery lists sometimes. By associating abstract information with familiar physical spaces in my mind and populating those spaces with vivid, often exaggerated or bizarre images representing the information, it creates this incredibly robust mental architecture for recall. It feels much more reliable and less effortful during retrieval than just trying to hold abstract facts in my head through sheer will or rote memorization. It just sticks better.
A mental filing system. Cool. Yeah. And for remembering names, which is such a common challenge for people, Kwik offers a specific mnemonic, BSUOVE.
Yes, BESUAVE provides concrete steps to actively engage your memory when meeting someone new, turning it from a passive hope into an active process. Believe you can remember names. Start with a positive mindset. Exercise your memory muscle regularly in other areas. Say the name immediately after hearing it. Nice to meet you, Sarah. Use the name naturally during the conversation. So, Sarah, what do you think about? Ask something about the name or the person, showing genuine interest, which aids in coding. Is Sarah short for anything? Visualize the name or associate the person with a vivid image, maybe related to their name or appearance, a Baker-Baker principle, and the conversation by using their name again. It was great talking with you, Sarah.
Believe, exercise, say, use, ask, visualize, end. BESUEE. Very practical steps for a common social hurdle. Okay, we've covered learning, focus, memory. Finally, let's talk about thinking itself. How can we think in more limitless ways? As Einstein supposedly said, right? We can't solve problems by using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. We need fresh approaches.
Absolutely. To truly be limitless thinkers, we need to break out of our habitual mental patterns and adopt fresh, dynamic approaches. We can't just keep rehashing the same old ways of looking at things and expect different results.
So how do we do that?
Well, one fantastic tool CAC highlights is Edward de Bono's 6 thinking hats. It's a structured technique designed specifically to get you and teams out of thinking ruts and ensure a comprehensive, multi-perspective analysis of any issue or problem.
6 thinking hats. How does it work?
It encourages you to deliberately separate your thinking into 6 distinct functions or modes by metaphorically donning different colored hats. Each hat represents a specific type of thinking. The white hat is purely about information gathering, facts, figures, data. What do we know? What do we need to find out? Think objective, like a scientist's lab coat.
Just the facts.
The yellow hat represents optimism and benefits, focusing strictly on the positives, the value, the advantages. Why will this work? What's the upside? Think bright and sunny.
The sunny side.
The black hat is the opposite, is the critical thinking hat, focusing on difficulties, potential pitfalls, risks, reasons why something might not work. Think cautious, like a judge's robe, playing devil's advocate constructively.
The caution hat.
The red hat allows for emotions, feelings, hunches, and intuition without needing any justification. How do I feel about this? What does my gut say? Think passion, heart.
Feelings allowed.
The green hat is the creative hat, brainstorming new ideas, possibilities, alternatives, different approaches, thinking outside the box. Think growth, like fresh grass.
New ideas.
And finally, the blue hat is the facilitator or management hat. It oversees the whole thinking process, sets the agenda, manages time, summarizes, ensures all the other hats are used effectively. Think cool control, overview, like the blue sky encompassing everything.
White facts, yellow positives, black negatives, red feelings, green creativity, blue process. That's comprehensive.
It really is. Using this method ensures you deliberately look at an issue from all angles, fostering much more balanced, comprehensive, and productive thinking. It actively prevents you from getting stuck in just one mode, like maybe you're naturally a black hat thinker, always seeing the problems. This forces you to put on the yellow and green hats, too.
Breaking out of your default thinking style, Kwik also brings up Howard Gardner's theory of multiple intelligences again here, doesn't he?
Yes, he revisits Gardner's 8 forms of intelligence: naturalist, musical, logical, mathematical, existent, interpersonal, others, interpersonal self, bodily kinesthetic, linguistic, spatial, reminding us again that we all possess unique strengths and ways of being intelligent that go far beyond traditional academic measures like IQ. Knowing how you are smart, recognizing your specific intelligence profile, is key to leveraging your personal genius effectively in problem solving and thinking.
Playing to your cognitive strengths. Okay, going even further, Kwik introduces a couple of more advanced thinking models. First, second-order thinking. What's that about?
Second-order thinking is essentially asking the question, and then what? It means thinking beyond the immediate first-order consequences of a decision or action to consider the longer-term ripple effects, the effects 5 days, 5 months, or even 5 years down the line. Most people stop at the immediate outcome. Second-order thinkers anticipate the chain reactions. Kwik cites Peter Thiel's complex, multi-year strategic takedown of Gawker Media as an extreme example. Every move was apparently part of a calculated long-term plan, anticipating Gawker's reactions and the subsequent consequences. It allows you to see connections and outcomes that others, focused only on the immediate, completely miss.
Thinking chess, not checkers. Seeing the bigger picture unfold over time.
Okay.
And the other advanced model.
The other one is exponential thinking. This is strongly advocated by entrepreneurs like Naveen Jain, the founder of Moon Express. Exponential thinking contrasts sharply with linear, incremental thinking. Linear thinking aims for maybe 10% improvement. It's a gradually rising straight line on a graph. Exponential thinking, on the other hand, aims for 10x improvement. It curves upwards, slowly at first, and then shooting dramatically over the other line.
Aiming for breakthroughs, not just tweaks.
Exactly. It's about, as Jane puts it, thinking in a completely different box. Fundamentally questioning the underlying assumptions of a problem, what if gravity wasn't a constant, led to thoughts about space elevators. It involves asking radical what-if questions, reading widely across different fields to gain entirely new perspectives, and refusing to be limited by current constraints. It's about not just making existing things better, but about imagining and creating entirely better things, better systems, better solutions through radical shifts in perspective.
Wow. Second-order thinking and exponential thinking. Those are really powerful mental models for tackling big challenges. So, for everyone listening, how could you apply the 6 thinking hats to a challenge or decision in your own life right now? Which hat do you usually wear, and which ones do you need to put on more often? And maybe what bold what-if questions could you ask to spark some exponential thinking around your work or your personal goals? This is where these methods become truly transformative, I think, moving from just understanding the theory to actively applying these powerful thinking tools.
That's the key, application. Turning knowledge into action, as we discussed. #tag outro.
Wow. Okay, what a truly deep dive that was into the limitless potential packed inside your brain. We've covered so much ground.
We really have, from mindset to methods.
Yeah, everything from dispelling those insidious self-limiting beliefs and battling the modern digital villains that drain our focus, to properly fueling your mind with the right diet, sleep, and energy management.
Building powerful habits through those small, simple steps.
Right, the S3 method, and then mastering advanced learning techniques like active recall, spaced repetition, harnessing flow, improving memory, and adopting those innovative thinking models like the 6 hats and exponential thinking. You listening now really have a comprehensive superhero toolkit for upgrading your brain, learning anything faster, and truly unlocking your exceptional life.
It's a powerful toolkit. But remember, the key isn't just having the toolkit. It's about consistently using it. This isn't just about accumulating knowledge from this deep dive. It's about actively applying these principles. Kwik emphasizes that powerful formula he learned from a mentor. Learn, earn, return.
Learn, earn, return.
Use your newfound capabilities not just for your own benefit, but to contribute, to make the lives of those around you better in some way. This journey from limits to liberation, it really begins with your first conscious step today, integrating one of these methods into your daily life and consistently putting it into practice. Start small, but start now.
That's a great call to action. So, what does this all mean for you right now as you finish listening? If our capacity to learn truly is limitless, if genius really is made through practice and not just born, what dormant superpower within you are you going to choose to awaken first? What's that one thing, that skill, that project, that goal that you've maybe always believed was impossible for you that you're now ready, armed with these tools to challenge and prove wrong? The choice, as always, is yours.